Mercy. This is just going to be a quick one today because I'm going to do a TdF wrap up, and TdF is Twitter Fleece for everyone who doesn't know, which I'm assuming is a lot of people. So as for quick introductions, I'm Alex, this is my Crafty Time. Today I'm going to talk to you about spinning, and if you want to find me on social media, you can find me as LexiStar on Ravelry and as Lexic112 on Instagram. Okay, so Tour de Fleece ran from end of June to like the 21st-ish of July. I can't remember, it was a fog, and my aim was just to spin every day. So I was part of two teams, primarily one just like a small team through one of the forums on Ravelry, and the other one was the Jenkins Spindling team. And so the Jenkins Spindling team had a scavenger hunt where you had to spin a gram a day and basically find whatever was in your house, whatever the item for that day was. So between spindles and wheels, I got a fair bit done, I think. So without further ado, this was my first Tour de Fleece project. Yay! And I had planned for this to be my whole Tour de Fleece project, and I think I finished it in like 5 days. So this is a combo spin of Corriedale, Falkland wool, Surrey alpaca and silk. And so I had four braids of fairly well coordinating colours, I think, plus 3 braids of one of like a pinky purpley colour, one that was just plain white roving. So you can see that the white has really come into colour with this. But for this I got 770 yards and about 420 grams. And most of the skeins are pretty similar, except like, so you can see this one. This is like one of the first ones and one of the last ones. I had run out of the Corriedale, so this one has more silk content in it, so it's a bit shinier. So I'm pretty happy with that. Not entirely sure what I'm going to make yet. Maybe it'll be part of the sweater because I can totally see myself wearing this colour. So that was the first thing. The next thing I worked on was this yarn, which I've already started using. So this was me experimenting with lock spinning because I've never done it before and I wanted to see how it would work. This is some BFL that I've got, and you can see it's like kind of slubby, it's shiny. It's pretty fun actually to make. I've since used it as like some trim on a Christmas ornament. It was only a tiny skein as it was to start off with, but so that was my second thing. And then I two-plied that on itself to kind of enhance the texture. And then so after doing the big spin, I was a little bit stumped as to what to do next. So that's why you see these few little skeins. So the next one I did was this little sample of Gulf Coast Native, which is a shave 'em to save 'em braid. And I bought this fleece raw, and so I've washed it myself, and I wanted to see if I could spin it with minimal preparation. So for this one, basically I just picked apart a fleece and like spun it from teased out clouds, I think that's what they're called, or nests, I don't know, but teased out bits of fibre. I didn't even have a flick cutter, so I just did it with my hands, and that's I guess why it's a little bit inconsistent and slubby. But it was good to know that I can do it. So I don't think I will process the rest of this Gulf Coast Native that way. I mean, if I have a little bit left over, maybe I will. And this little skein is only like, I don't know, 10 grams maybe, so it's itty bitty. But just for reference, this is what the washed fleece looks like, and it's a lamb's wool. And so I just got like some of these and just really picked them apart and opened them right up and like opened up all the tips that you can see that are still a bit dirty, but that's coming out nicely. So like, this is what I've been working on at the moment. So not part of Fleece, but this is my best roll ag, which is when you get some of the fleece, and this is the hand carded preparation that I've done. And I'm just keeping this one because it's my tidiest one and all the rest are really ugly. And then I've been spinning it on my nano and getting this. So this is just singles. But because it's such a short staple, I thought the nano would be a good way of doing it rather than on the wheel itself. Plus, like, all the wheel traveling is making my knees a bit janky if I do it too much, and I don't have that issue with the nano. So that's the Gulf Coast native that I've been working on. Next, I was experimenting more with tail spinning and spinning from the lock and on what I call my Muppet yarn, because it is super Muppety. I think it's a combination of its fluffiness and its colour, but this is just singles, and this is lesser long wool, so this is another shave and to save and breed. I've got 4 ounces of locks on this, and I don't really have any real combing tools, so that's partly why I tried lock spinning. It's hard and it's time consuming, because like you get the lock and well, this is how I did it. I got the lock and then I opened it up, and then I kind of spun along the opened up end, and that's how you got like these little dangling guys like this. I think this would make really excellent cushion cover, like like an accent piece on a cushion that's woven more than knitted, just because I'm not really sure how well this will hold up, but I've still got more of this to do. I'm not sure whether I'm going to try and like open it up a bit more, like treat it more like a comb prep, or whether I'll just keep spinning this crazy. So that's that one. Then I did 3 full spindle spins during the tour, so it ends up being about 75 grams total, but I think these 3, and don't they just look gorgeous together? So this is a Teeswater, which is a long wool, which I spun worsted on these were all spun on my Aegean spindles. So I spun this on the Aegean spindle worsted because it's a long wool, and I think you can see kind of how shiny it is. So that's the Teeswater. That's also a conservation breed, but I bought it before it was on the conservation list to see what it's like. Now this is more Blueface Leicester, and I think this is probably my favourite spin of the bunch, because this was in like a carding sampler that I got when I got my cards. A very kind lady destashed them to me and sent me some fibre that I could just practice on, and they had this beautiful BFL in it, and you can see like there's all these light little spots that like I made were the tips of some of the fibre that I didn't quite cut out very well, but I just love this texture and it's so soft. And so that's just a 2-ply too, and I don't know, I was intending on this going in my vivid blanket, but I don't know, I think I just want to keep it and pat it and have it be my little friend, because it's like next to Skin Soft, and it's just this colour and the texture just give me so much satisfaction. So even though this was hand carded into roll ags when I did it, I actually ended up spinning it worsted because some of the locks didn't card apart enough, and I wanted to have like that extra control. And yeah, look, it's a mustache. So that's the BFL, and this is some Svartbuzz. So this is its natural color as well. It's like it's still the dark brown, and it was pretty fun to spin too, actually. I thought it was better than, like, I thought it would be quite coarse, but it poofed up heaps when I washed it. So considering this was spun on the Aegean, so that's my spindle, that's 30 grams. And that was spun woolen, which I guess is why it's more fluffier, and this Teeswater was spun worsted, which is why it's a bit smoother. Still a bit inconsistent in bits, but like if you look at the difference, how much fluffy the Swatch balls is compared to the Teeswater. And they were also skeined on the same Nitty Noddy, and you can see shrinkage too. I think Zwartbles is like a down breed, and so far, as from the Shaven to Savin, I've been spinning a lot of what are like down or down like breeds, and I'm beginning to think that it's like more of a characteristic of these type of wools that you get a very, like, this one doesn't seem as bouncy, but it did shrink and it is quite fluffy. But yeah, but with like, I think you get more shrinkage with those types of wools. So this one will go into my Vivid blanket. I've got some more of this. This is really fun to spin. And the natural color is very, very satisfying as well for me. So, and as you can see so far, I spent a lot of time spinning natural colored wools. I wanted to get a head start on some more of my Shaven to Savin breeds. As soon as I finished 5, I'm like, let's keep going with this. And so on that note, the next thing I spun was more Shaven to Savin breeds. This is Tunis, which I believe is also like either not a down or a down like wool, because this guy shrunk like 20% after I washed him. So this is a traditional 2-ply that I spun on my wheel, and I should have used a bigger loop for it because I did not use a 2-yard Nitty Noddy for this. I wound it off onto my skein winder, and like this circumference is not really big enough to wind this into a skein properly. This is 100 grams and it's 353 yards of a 2-ply. I think it's like on average probably about a sport weight, but it goes a bit finer than that in some places. So this is its natural color too. It's like super creamy compared to like the Teeswater again. And this BFL, which you can see is like white. And then this is the Gulf Coast Native, which is again pretty white. But so far, like these natural colors, there's such an arrangement of them. But it's really, so this is like, you can see the Teeswater is pretty drapey, but that's like characteristic of a long wool. Again, I actually really like spinning the Teeswater too, so I'm probably going to spin some more of that at some point. But this is like, it's got a reasonable amount of elasticity to it, even though it is only a 2-ply, and it fluffed up a lot too. It went poof in the washing. So the thing that I did with the Tunis this time was, yes, I did spin this on my wheel, but I also spun this on my AG and spindle. So this one I actually wound up on the 2-yard Nitty Noddy, and I thought it was pretty interesting looking at how this Tunis spun differently on the spindle compared to on the wheel. Like, to me, this has got a lot more air and it's a lot more loftier, and you can see like in general my spinning on the spindle is much bigger. So, and I think some of that has to do with the weight of the spindle keeping on while it is being like while you're drafting. It adds a bit more loft to it, and I beat this up to like full it a bit because these are both woolen spun, but I just think it has made a much lighter yarn, so that's interesting. I'm going to keep trying to spin bits and pieces on the spindle of the same fiber because I'm interested in seeing the comparisons to how it spins. And I think like with the spindle it's much harder to get like things over twisted compared to like with the wheel, where I can get a bit carried away with treadling sometimes. So that's those things. Then basically I got so sick of just spinning natural colors that I decided I needed to have some color in my life. So I spun this. It's a traditional 3-ply, and then I chain plied off the bit that was left, or bits that were left. So I tend to agonize a little bit over the color management because I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing. And for this one, I wanted to really, really maximize the color that was in the braid. So I was reading places, I think it might have been Yarn Texture, that spinning things worsted. So I did this short forward draw, spinning it worsted, and then 3-ply can really make the colors pop. I think it has fairly well for this, whereas if you spin it woolen, it'll probably make the colours look a bit more muted. And I only got like a minimum of barber polling, so fairly subtle, which is what I was going for. So I split the braid down vertically 3 times and then spun each of those as singles. And then when it came to plying, I basically, if like one of the colours weren't matching up, I basically just broke it and wound it off onto like a toilet paper roll until I got to the next colour in the sequence. And so I managed the colours that way. And then this was basically whatever ends I couldn't match up. I tried to keep it in the same colour sequence and then just chain plied it off. And man, I need to practice at chain plying. This was so over twisted when it came off the wheel. It looked so ugly, and I had to really like beat it up and thwack it and lasso it around my head to try and get some of this extra twist out. But overall, I think it'll be good. And it's similar in weight to the main skein, so if I run out, then at least I've got this as backup. I mean, this is like 30 yards and this is like a bit over 200, so. And this is this blend, Happy Ship. So it was fun to spin. I enjoyed it. I'd spin it again. It did bleed a bit though, which like tealy coloured water, which I was not super impressed about, but if I make a note, then it'll be fine. So yeah, if you want to know anything more about any of these spins, let me know. Send me an email, comment below, message me on Rav, message me on Insta. I will respond. Otherwise, hopefully I'll get back and do another podcast soon that will talk about all of the other things that I've been doing, which, I don't know, I must have been just bit with the crafting bug lately, so there is a fair bit to show.